Started this recording. All right, so perfect. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. This is Manish. I will be your host for this webinar. Can you please raise your hand if I am audible? You can click on the palm sign. Perfect. All right. So today we are going to present our thoughts on how to improve cash flow by adopting SaaS in data center. Please join me in welcoming our key speaker, Javin Rafiq, Business Manager Cloud. A keynote about Javin: he leads our cloud practice that delivers global standards of consultancy and advisory services, along with unique service catalog and adoption strategies that can deliver a truly multi-cloud experience to our esteemed customers. Followed by Javin, we will also have another speaker, Manish Utpal, who is our senior pre-sales consultant, and he will take us through his slides on the SaaS technologies. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can type them into the chat box on the right-hand side of the window, or you can also raise your hand and we will unmute you and you can ask your question directly to the speaker. We will answer the questions, at the end of the session. And as I said, a recorded version of this webinar will be made available on YouTube, and we will also share the link to access that recording with you all. Now, without any further ado, I would request Javin to take over. We hope you find this webinar insightful today. Over to you, Javin.
Thank you very much, Manish. First of all, let me welcome you all. Thank you for taking out your time and bringing in the presence here in our webinar. Majorly, what I would like to tell you is that we've kept this webinar as business focused as possible. Right now, we were evaluating what are the solutions that are going to help businesses. These are the things that we're doing in the market to help customers reduce their operational expenses. Some of the webinars topics, it's a 3-webinar series that we've created. One of them we are doing maybe next week with Microsoft on 13th. Which will be hosted by Microsoft, and the last one which we'll be doing around data and network ecosystems. All these webinars are designed on a basic level of adoption. So this is basic start. This is immediate impact for your IT ecosystem, and the strategy is to make sure that we can give you a positive ROI story to deliver a solution as an OpEx and a software-based model. Before we start, I want to give you a brief input about who we are. As an organization, we are 29-year-old within the UAE, started up here in UAE. We are a regional specialist. We are ranked for the last decade or two as one of the top system integrators across GCC. We are also a managed services provider. So that's why we track our customer satisfaction very closely on the SLAs as well. And we've ranked about 90% customer satisfaction across the board on all our services delivered. Our employee retention is also very high. As an organization, we've got many people who've stayed here for a long period of time. We have a multitude of technologies across the board. We have 6 practices focused on different solution verticals. My solution vertical focuses on hybrid infrastructure, hybrid cloud services, but we've got a very competent cloud infrastructure service, digital service. We have a service around digital and IoT, and we have a service around managed services as well. We've got our managed services ecosystem replicated back in India. So we have the capability to support your ecosystem on an offshore price list as well. And especially with cloud, we take advantage of it. We've got a delivery center as well. So we have, as I said, we have a very large digital and application practice. We have a delivery centers back in India as well. And we have a strength of 400 technical engineers that are there as part of the organization. As an organization, we have more than 600 employees together. We are stretched across GCC and India today. So we are present in Oman, Bahrain, Saudi, UAE, in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and in India for Mumbai and Bangalore. We also have long-term partnerships with our customers. So we most of the customers are retained, and we have them for more than decades that we work together strategically across the board in BFSI, government, and semi-government ecosystems, as well as the local retail conglomerates that are there in the ecosystem. Moving across the board from our ecosystem. These are our recognitions as well, because for every alliance, we don't only own the sales strategy, but the support and the competency behind it. So if you see, we are recognized as one of the leaders in every single vendor we take up. That's one of the key focuses, to be able to completely deliver an end-to-end solution and consult has always been the signature of Intertek. And we continue to carry the same focus in the cloud ecosystem as well. Today, our cloud ecosystem in UAE is predominantly focused around Microsoft as the data sovereign cloud hyperscaler cloud available in the region. And around Microsoft, we've built key competencies like we are now an Azure migration partner for Windows Virtual Desktop. We've just earned the competency for Azure Expert MSP, which is a global competency, both of these. We are a focused Azure partner. And we've delivered in the last year intellectual property, which is to Microsoft worth more than $12 million. Also, we partner on our data strategy with NetApp and on our end user computing strategy with Citrix, which is an add-on to our WVD strategy. And we have other cloud ecosystem vendors which are unique and provide niche value adds to our customers. From an IP co-sell perspective, as I said, today, if you go on Azure Marketplace, you would find that 4 out of our 5 IP co-sales are already globally Microsoft preferred IP co-sales. And IP co-sell means as a CSP, we own this service and support and the entire lifecycle of this ecosystem. Along with the 4 that are delivered from the cloud view, we also leverage our partner ecosystem that you just saw to deliver competency on consulting and entire lifecycle management across 100 IP co-sales or more, which can add value to your cloud ecosystem today. Our entire strategy is to not move everything into a public cloud ecosystem. Rather, the percentage of private and public in your architecture is going to be defined by your business use case. When you talk about public cloud, the public cloud can be segregated into consistent consumption and inconsistent consumption, basically being a stateless or a stateful architecture. Similarly, a private consistent consumption, it depends on where the user is utilizing the ecosystem from, whether through it is a public IP or a domain service, or using VPN access wherever he's sitting, or through an MPLS and SD-WAN ecosystem. That segregation allows us to create 4 different platform architectures, which are unique and which deliver higher levels of efficiency and consumption patterns. Across the board, we integrate the data architecture and we integrate the application management architecture. The network is completely common between all the ecosystems, and that's how we deliver a one cloud ecosystem for our customers, which is hybrid and multi-cloud capable and enabled. Our consultative practice is revolving around the same ideology of a private and a public cloud and a consistent and inconsistent consumption, as well as our IP co-sales. We deliver a solution based on your business strategy. We want to impact your business in a positive manner. For that, we have segregated every single point solution or a point strategy, which you can adopt today. But all these strategies are interrelated. For example, in our VDI strategy, which is part of our hybrid end user management ecosystem, we utilize the data management architecture, we utilize the network fabric, we utilize our managed services ecosystem, which you see here, and we also give a billing sanity with our hybrid billing integration platforms. When we start a discussion, it starts as an end-to-end complete ecosystem that you can adopt and then slowly transform your architecture. As you know, cloud has a steep adoption curve, but simple services can be adopted immediately, which can impact your business immediately. That's why we created this webinar series. If you see, most of the webinars are going to be focusing on SaaS adoption, which we are doing today, business continuity, which will be part of the SaaS solutions that we're delivering today. The M365 and the Exchange motion is already a very mature motion in the market, so we are focusing on modern workspace with VDI. We are also going to talk about in the last webinar on the lift and shift and the assessment motions and the data architecture that supports it across the board. Hence, it is important that all the webinar series are attended if this is something for you to adopt as a strategy. Now, improving cash flow as a SaaS adoption, we are really going to be focusing on understanding what are the 2 different types of SaaS ecosystems that are available in the market today. You have SaaS, and there is a little bit of confusion here. SaaS is of 2 types because there is SaaS which is attached to the cloud service, and there is SaaS which is not attached with the cloud service and only delivers an OpEx model of billing. Now, SaaS which is attached to cloud services require data compliance and security compliance to come into the picture. These are examples for these are your Microsoft 365 solutions, your Office 365 solutions, or other platform vendors who are hosted on a cloud ecosystem and create data footprint on that cloud. Similarly, when there are SaaS ecosystems which are managed by cloud providers like us, these SaaS ecosystems do not create a data footprint outside your environment. They are only used to deliver a SaaS as an OpEx model, a consumption-based billing model for you. Examples for these are Veeam, which we will cover today, VMware, which we will also cover today, and the solutions from Red Hat or Citrix, which we are partnered with, and we'll be covering Red Hat as well today. Major advantage for you to drive a SaaS adoption would be that you're actually going to be paying for the CPU compute resources that you're consuming, bringing in a better price model for you on actual consumption. And usually, when you have built a data center, you build it for a 3-year model. There is a gradual progression of consumption that happens in an organization. But when you virtualize or create a backup ecosystem, you have to make an upfront capital investment. That capital investment grows year on year on a net 20% inflation anyways. You have zero control on the spends. Everything is managed by a global account strategy. While in a SaaS adoption ecosystem, the prices are globally published. You know what your progression is going to be. You know that you're going to have a growth in your ecosystem, and you can connect that growth with the particular projects in your organization. The best part is that this can only be built on a monthly post-paid billing model. Means you can hold us accountable and the vendor accountable for actually showcasing what you consumed. Our ideology also has not been to present a product but a solution offering for you. When we deliver a backup as a service, as an example here, we reduce the number of IT products that are there in the service catalog itself. Our idea is to match the RTO and RPO requirements of your setup. When we deliver a solution, we will ask you what are the business requirements of a failover strategy. Do you require a full automated failover ecosystem? Do you want an application or a data-only failover ecosystem? Do you want scripting? Do you want a proactive monitoring for this entire architecture? Based on your requirements, we can create the service catalog that will be different and unique for every customer. And we will make sure that over a period of time, we deliver the RTO and RPO that is required to ensure business continuity is managed. Without further ado, I will ask Manish to unmute himself and start the discussion on Veeam, the billing strategy.
Thank you, Javeen. Thank you very much for covering. So just to introduce myself, I am the senior technical consultant, having 15 plus of experience on different technologies across the infrastructures and the hybrid cloud. And I'm associated with the Intertek, and I'm in the GCC for 5+ years. And today I'm going to cover about the adoption and advantage of Veeam and VMware as an SaaS adoption model. Coming to the Veeam, Veeam, as we most of us know, is everyone know as it's a backup vendor, but rather I would say it's a complete data management platform. It's a purpose-built data management platform designed to accelerate business agility for automated backup, capacity planning, doing the intelligent data orchestrations, governance across any environment. So some of us are having a private cloud, some are having a public cloud. It covers all of that. It's not only that, it's a foundations for keeping the organization, keeping the capabilities for a data-driven organization today, as everyone of us know, that every organization is data-driven and how important our data are. Now, these are the key features, as we say, backup and recovery. It's a simple software-defined solution. Why we say software-defined? You're not locking with any hardware vendor. You can have some of us are using HP, some of are on the Dell, so we can have any of the platform. We can have even a public platform like Azure and AWS. So it's a software defined. It's a simple solution. You do not need to have any complex or very senior administrator to manage. It's application aware, so you can have running any Microsoft applications, Oracle applications, It also provides a granular recovery. So some of us, we do not want to restore the whole set of data because we have terabyte of data. We want to restore maybe a specific file, a specific database, a specific email. We can restore that. And it is helping us for the backup verification. How we will ensure that everybody is running backup today, but I'm sure every organization is having a similar kind of environment and similar experience. So if you are backing up when there is a real disaster happens, we cannot guarantee that we can restore 100% of the critical data. So how we can ensure that the backup verification is done? So this platform is going to help us from any system failure, any outage. It can be any cyber attack or any kind of IT crisis. Cloud mobility. Can we go back to the previous slide? Cloud mobility. So it helps protect, migrate workload, and it also provide initiative guidance on how we can migrate the data, how we can or how we can copy the data from one platform to other, like from on-prem to cloud and vice versa. It also provides the monitoring and analytics, monitoring and the analytics, which help us to diagnose unexpected issues from any disaster recovery, any backup failure. It also provides orchestrations and automations. Basically, when we are having a backup, right? How we can automate this backup verification job? How we can automate the replication, failover, failback job? So all these orchestrations can be done based on the workflow available, and it also has the integrations, storage API integrations with the variety of product like an storage, Azure, Blob, NetApp, Dell, any of the technologies. Governance and compliance, that's the most important things. How we can ensure the security of the data, how we can ensure compliance of the data. So if any ransomware attack happens, it starts encrypting the data. Okay, so it can help us to avoid issues from the ransomware attack. It also helps us to compliance. We can get an automated report on how to ensure that I have my data available. So if there is any server failure, any data center failure, how we can recover it. And it also helps for the app testing. Now, over a period of time, the Veeam has done enhancement like any other vendor, and now the Veeam 10 has been released this year. Now, based on the continuous feedback from customers across the globe and the new demand, there are more than 150 important features and enhancement has been added to version 10. So some of the most important feature and powerful feature which we are going to cover today, these are three. NAS backup. I'm sure every customer will have a file server, whether I'm as service provider, you are as a client, every customer will have some kind of a file server, and everyone faces challenges that the file server backup is always slow, irrespective of what file server you have, what backup you are using. Because what happens is the file servers, these are unstructured data. We can have any kind of a file, any size, any length, and any users are open, right? So when we do the backup, it's basically do a locking, and it freezes the operations, and that's why we see performance issues, and mostly the backup runs out of office hours. Now, the NAS backup feature was available with the Veeam, but with the Veeam 10, there is enhancement which has been done, that is with the called change file tracking. It's a protocol developed by Veeam, which basically makes only changes of the file. For example, we have a tree structure, and within that we have 5 folders, we have 1,000 files, and there is a specific change in just one of the file. We do not need to read through the whole tree structure. We just need to, with the change file tracking, it maintains the track change of the file, and then it copies. So it will not, it's basically forever incremental, and it's going to improve the performance. It does the faster backup. And it integrates with the Windows file share, NAS file share, any kind of NAS appliance, NetApp, Synology, which you are using today. Second is the multiple VM recovery. So instant recovery is one of the key feature, and which I always love, because what happens when you have a demand, business demand, that MySQL servers cannot be go down for more than 5 minutes. How can we restore from any traditional backup? Today, no, it's not. Because when we want to restore, we are restoring from tape, we are restoring from cloud or whatever media. In fact, to copy the media, right, over network, it takes time. Now we cannot, my business requirement is to have the quick uptime, quick SLA. So this feature, this Veeam was the first to launch this feature, instant VM recovery. Now it is available with most of the other vendor. But now with the Veeam 10, we have multiple instance recovery, meaning we have 20 VMs. We want to restore all the VMs together. You do not need to transfer the data from the backup media to the production storage. We can mount the VMs. We can mount the data from the backup itself, and we can switch on all the 20 VMs together within less than 5 minutes. So there is a significant improve in the RTO. And this is, I'm sure this is going to help everyone. Data stay and data safe. As you know, the traditional backup method is the tape. Tape, when you back up any data, the data is offline. Nobody can harm the data until you, because it's protected from ransomware, right? Ransomware can run when there is an active file. Now with the Veeam 10, there is an integration has been done with the S3 object. S3 is basically a object storage. And once the data goes to object storage, the data will be immutable for a certain period of time, right? And when data is immutable, even there is a ransomware attack, we are safe. We can restore those data from point in time, restore from the immutable copies. This can be on-prem with the certain solutions like Cloudian, where we have an object storage Cohesity, or it can be Azure Blob, AWS S3. So this way we can protect the data. We will cover the Veeam editions. I'm sure most of you are aware of it, so I'll take less time here. So these are categorized into three different editions. Standard, it's for a small and medium business where companies are starting the business. We have very limited application. Enterprise, we are looking for certain features like multiple VM restore, granular recovery of application object, and enterprise feature where we want to fully manage the data, right? So instant VM recovery, it's a basic feature. Every customer wants to recover the data quickly. It's available. I'll take one more example. File item recovery, it's available. Now, when you're talking about Exchange, SQL, SharePoint, right? So as and when the organization increases, these are the applications used, right? So standard, we have a limited editions. Oracle, Oracle is used mostly by enterprise and large enterprise customers. So this feature is not available with the standard. Universal application item recovery. So what happens, some of the customers or some of us are still using the traditional applications, or even it is a new application, it's not as well known as, like, we know SQL, right? We know Exchange, SharePoint. What happens, there is an Infor software, maybe few of us know. We are looking for application item recovery, then we can use this particular feature, universal application restore recovery. So even the application which is not well known, we can do the restore of that. Self-service portal. When we want to restore the data, right, it's a complex process. We need to know which media, which file. So we need simplicity. I know this is my mailbox. This is my the mail subject, or this is my database name. I want to restore that. We can just type and we can do a self restore. It will find out. You do not need to navigate that. You go to folder, specific directory, application. You just type it and we can find that. Recovery delegation. So larger organizations will have a different administrator. You want to give a different access policy to different. For example, one administrator will have access to only backup to these many servers. So we can do those delegations. It has a very deep integrations with the different product like NetApp storage, NetApp HCI, 3Power storage. We can take the backup from the storage snapshot, so there will be no impact on the application performance. Encryption is there. It also has dedupe storage integration when we are looking for disk-based retention for a longer period of time, 6 months, 10 months, right? We can use those appliances like StoreOne, Data Domain, and we can do integration. Binary acceleration is a very key feature when we want to do a replication to a remote site. It can be your secondary data center, your cloud. we can use this feature for effective transfer of the data over low bandwidth. And we have an orchestration for the failover and failback. So based on this category and business requirement, we can use any of these product. Now we'll move to the next slide. These are the different SKUs. So just want to highlight that with the cloud adoption model, we have entire Veeam product portfolio available for us. It is available for the customer. It is based on the point systems. So with this slide and in the upcoming slides, I will cover that, how we are coming these point systems. So for example, if we are taking a backup of virtual machines, it's running on Hyper-V, VMware, and we are using Enterprise Plus Edition. So we are basically using the full feature. There is an 11 points for this. Physical server, again, we are taking a backup of RMAN. It's 11 points. So similarly, I'll cover, let's say, I'm going with the VMs under the standard edition. It's for SMB customers. It's only 5 points. It has weightage of 5. Similarly, it's for workstations, NAS. As we say, it's a powerful NAS system for the forever incremental. It's a 10 point for per 200 GB data. It also supports the endpoint backup. Some of your customers, VVIP customers, we need to ensure that their data is protected. If there is a hard drive failure on the laptop, your data is gone, right? We can protect those data. So these are the points which will be calculated while we are the monthly billing is done. It also has a Veeam Cloud Connect. Veeam Cloud Connect is basically it gives us the flexibility to connect to a cloud provider like an Azure. You want to take the backup to cloud, or vice versa. I want to take a backup from my Office 365 to on-premise, because Office 365 does not provide a data backup. So we can do that. We'll go to the next slide on the billing. This is the billing model. So the advantage of SaaS, as Javin highlighted, it is improving our cash flow. You do not need to do upfront investment. We need to have the clear visibility of the cost, and we need to have a monthly payment cycle, right? And same time, we should also have flexibility. Oh, I'm using 10 server backup now. The third month, I want to use 8 server backup, and I want to take 10 more Office 365 mailboxes. So we will have this flexibility under this model. Now, let's go to column 3. It says monthly pay-per-use rental, no commitment. So no commitment is required. You do not need to do any investment. You can even start with the 5 VM backup, and then the charges will be based on per point monthly. So similarly, if you are looking for, if you see that as soon as the commitment increases, you will see the advantage of the price reduction. So if there is a commitment, you can see price is $1.10. I will show one of the example. So we'll just go to the previous slide. So let's say the virtual machines, a customer is having a 40 virtual machines running under standard editions. Okay, and we want to know what would be my monthly cost consumptions, what will be my annual consumptions. Okay, so it's a 5 points. So if we multiply 40 into 5, 200 points. So let's go to the next slide. So 200 points. So that means we know our commitment is minimum 200. So I am going to pay $197 for 40 virtual machine backup, and this is my monthly payment. So if you want to know the annual cost, you can multiply by 12. Not only that, so you know what is the cost, and we are going to pay only on the monthly basis. Now, anytime we can use the other VMware product. So 200 points has to be accumulated, not just for one product. You can have any, like you see more than a dozen products, right? Office 365, Cloud Connect, NAS backup. You can use any of them, and you need to have this much allocation. So it's giving a flexibility of using a product and improving the cash flow. And it's a managed support, so you are getting 24/7 support as part of the managed services portfolio. The bill will be generated monthly. So, for example, it's January. You are running some backup, right? So, bill will be generated on the 1st of February. So, similarly, whole February the bill will be generated in 1st of March.
So I would like to say something here. So if your commitment is, let's say, 200 points and you overconsume, your overconsumption to, let's say, between 2 to 800 points, there is a huge difference. So if you can, let's say, consume 300 points tomorrow, for those 100 points also, you're not going to be charged on a no commitment rate. You're going to be charged on the unit rate that you see here, which is the base commitment. A base commitment helps you to convert your fixed cost into a fixed value, as well as any overages as well. You're reducing your unit rate as well. And this unit rate is your major rate agreement with Intertech in this manner, right? Because as much as you consume, as Manish was saying before, whatever your consumption is going to be, we are not asking you to use a single solution. We're giving you the entire portfolio and the flexibility of the entire portfolio. You're not buying into a solution which is fixed to a single socket. So when the device is being upgraded, you have to just extract the licenses, reactivate on the socket. No, we are giving you a service. You can utilize it on any device that is in your environment via the domain service that we are going to provide to you of the VM master server. And from there on, it is up to you where you want to deploy and how you want to deploy it. Because in the end, you don't have to be fixed on a single device. Now, let's come to the example where you may have critical time periods. Let's say your finance machines cannot go down during the audit period for 3 months. Whatever happens, do you want to buy a backup and a disaster recovery solution for the entire year for that? Maybe no, right? You're not in exactly in that kind of a scenario where you can afford 100% availability scenario. Can you take the non-committed licenses and deploy those over there? Yes. If you have a commitment, you can still extend that on demand. And that monthly cost, you can factor on the unit rate that you're committing. So that's where the exact value and the power is being shifted back from, let's say, an account manager who's selling you a contract at a certain value to you as an IT decision maker to say, right, I want to do this part of the service for this duration only, and that should be available to me as a budget, and that's where we are coming to today with this. Please continue.
Yeah, just to add that this model can be used for both new customers as well as the existing customers. So let's say you are using a VM and you want to change into this model, you want to improve the cash flow. So we can do that while the VM renewal is coming up, because if your support is active, doesn't make sense to have an additional investment. But when you are doing the renewal, you can compare the cost of renewal versus this model, and then we can help us with the TCO and how it can benefit. License will be,
the pointer that we are at 40-minute mark, so let's move on that time.
Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. So license users report is something similar to this. As we see, we are using Enterprise Plus. There are 9 workstations, 9 desktop machines, and 5 servers. Desktop has 4 points, so we have 36, and server Enterprise Plus has 11, so total 91 points. Now this one is coming under no commitment, right? Because minimum commitment is for 200 points, so it will be charged based on the unit rate for non-committed model. These are the advantages when we compare to traditional VM licenses. So we are not changing the product, it's only the model, business model. We are changing it. It's a monthly postpaid, no capex investment. We are saving on capex. License flexibility. So in traditional model, the license is socket based. Once we buy, and let's say after a year we want to move to Azure, then I need to do another investment on a backup solution, because that was only for on-prem socket based. Now this provides a flexibility. You can use these licenses across physical, virtual, any VM product, any cloud. It also helps us to entire Intertech manage VM service catalogs, and it also provide the visibility of growth and discounted architecture. So in case if you are growing, what would be the cost. You have the price rate card available with you. We also provide the BCP consultation and deeply integration with our managed backup and DR offering. So we have other products where in case you want to backup, you do not want to invest on the another complex data center for the DR, right? We can take a backup to Azure, and then we can, in case if there is a DR, if the disaster, we want to restore the services, we have consultancy and the services where we can integrate and we can make your server services up and live from the cloud within couple of minutes. Our depends on our plan and our architecture. RTO, RPO testing. So this is a quarterly basis, and we can help us doing the backup, DR drills, the backup test, backup simulations. And it is also integrated with the various other product we have on the SaaS. It's like looking for a storage on the cloud with the NetApp, VMware, the VDI, WVD, etc. Veeam solution catalogs. So as we say, backup of Office 365, we can integrate with Office 365 to backup on the Azure to Azure, or we can have an integration with the on-prem backup solution. So we'll have one copy of our email is always available in the data center. Similarly, we can do the backup and replication to the Azure, and this is what most of the customers are looking for, because in a DR, you are going to only run probably in a 10 days in a year or 1 month in a year. Then why I need to do the entire investment for the data center, right? We can have the backup to the cloud, backup copy to the cloud, and we can start the services. So I need to pay for the consumptions only for that particular month. And this it integrates, and we support the management of the entire portfolio and entire integrated products. Covering to the VMware. So VMware will also going to cover the, it has a similar model. It's again a SaaS product. And as we said, this SaaS products can be used within your premises, on premises, or this product can also be used on a cloud provider. As we say, the VMware is one of the leading virtualization platform, cloud platform, which is available as a catalogs on Azure, on AWS, and on the Google Cloud. So primarily we categorize this as two products. The first set of products is the core. Core product is basically a simple products to start with, where we can do the virtualization. We can where do can virtualization. As we see, the core product what all includes vCenter and vSphere, which is like any company want to virtualize, do the VMware virtualization or consolidation, we can do that. Then we have NSX. NSX, if we are looking for then network level virtualizations like L2 VPN, distributed firewall. So those kind of features are available. If we do for traditional VMware licensing, NSX is a completely separate product. It's pretty expensive that we need to buy. Then we have metering solutions, because as you know, in a SaaS model, we need to have a monthly payment. So there should be some tracking mechanism with an automated monitoring method. So it uses the vCloud, uses meter, and the vRealize intelligent operation chargeback. vCloud Director and the vRealize Insight. So if you want to delegate the services, like which user wants to have access to which services, and the vRealize Log Insight, basically it helps us collection of logs and doing the intelligence operations to reduce the downtime. These are the core products which we need to buy. The second one is add-on. So if other than the basic virtualization, if somebody is looking for advanced operations, like vRealize operations, vRealize automations, vSAN, storage virtualizations, or the NSX data center, right? We know as software-defined network for the micro segmentations, layer 3 to layer 4 virtual load balancer. So if we are looking for all those features, VDI, site recovery manager. So these are the add-on products which can be added along with the core product. So here we see, we'll go to the right side of the table first. So how the billing is done, how the chargeback is done. So the base product is the core product, right? Core product, like if I want to provision a VM, for VM I need vSphere, I need a vCenter, I need a vCloud Director because this is giving some advanced capability, right, for the user delegation. So if we use one feature, 2 products, 3 product, any of this product, if you use these services on one VM, it is calculated based on per VGB RAM. So for every virtual machines, we will have some RAM assigned, right? So it counts per GB RAM per VM. So if a VM is having a 2 GB of reserve RAM, it will be 14 points. Now the add-on products, as we say, we can add yes or no. If we want to add, we can add it. Maybe we want to add the vRealize for every quarter, each beginning of each quarter, and then reduce. So we'll have to, that will be 1 point will be added in that particular month. Similarly, vSAN Advanced, as we say, its stored virtualization is 0.002 per GB RAM. So it is counting.
Manish, I want to just step in here to give it a more simplified view to everybody.
Okay.
So there are 3 versions of chargeback model that you have. Most of your resources are charged on the RAM consumed or RAM allocated. When you are in an IT architecture, you may buy additional storage capacity or additional compute capacity in your data center or your HCI stack, or you have a N+1 redundancy capability, right? No, you under normal virtualization standards, you would buy a socket or a CPU licenses across the board for all those resources, irrespective of their consumption. Now, do you allocate them into a virtual machine? The answer may be no. You may allocate that maybe by the end of year 2. You may allocate under a virtual machine, maybe just as a buffer capacity, or maybe you will containerize it and you will have a scalable ecosystem. So you will use it only on peak instances on an on-prem ecosystem. Did that virtual machine actually consume that architecture? The answer is no. So when you allocate it under VMware and you create those VMs and you actually spin them up during the year, during the month, that's when you are paying for these RAM consumption. That's why you are not being charged for the majority of the entire VOQ for per VM licensing. It is per RAM consumption because the cores will be virtualized in any manner. But if the RAM is consumed is when the process actually happens. So this is where the control on business is coming back to IT decision makers. When the RAM is allocated, when the process happens on that VM, that is when you are being charged on this. Now the core is anyways going to be 7 points and it will be an add-on ecosystem. But if you see the per VM chargeback is only for a disaster recovery solution, which makes sense, right? Because disaster recovery will not charge a RAM consumption on DR. So when you have a DR setup, you're paying for the primary setup and only the VM software charge. On the DR side, you will only use it again for 30 days, right? So for the DR side, you will not pay for the RAM consumption. In a container platform, you will not pay for this buffer capacity. In a VDI architecture, you will not pay for users who are not active. The VMs are shut down. They are scaled down. You will not pay for those. So that is the reality of a SaaS control back to your business. It is commercially impacting and giving back you the money based on actual consumption. And that's why it is RAM based. Manisha, continue.
Yeah, thank you. So similar to here, as we explained, the metering could be per GB RAM for these services. For VDI, it will be per user based, and for DR, it will be per VM basis. So it has a different points. Now for this, we again have a monthly commitment. This can be minimum of 360 points monthly basis, and this would be the charges per point. $1.3. So let's say we talk about 50 virtual machines and we want to run it for all the time. So if we multiply 50 into 7, it's coming close to 360. Okay, we'll show in better in this table. So these are as we see the RAM utilization. So in every customers will have like a different kind of variety of workload, right? Some of the VMs are having 4 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, 16 GB RAM, up to 64 GB RAM. But these are the assigned RAM. Probably the RAM uses, if you see, or the RAM reservations could be 50%. Like 4 GB RAM can have 2 GB of reservation, 64 24 GB RAM can have 12 GB of reservation or higher. So reservation or consumption is not always 24%. Now, so that is why we have taken 23 VMs as an requirement here, that a customer is having 23 VMs. 2 VMs are under this category, 8 VMs are under this category, and similarly up to 64 VM, because the high dense VM, the higher RAM powered VM will be very less. Now, for all this, out of these 23 VMs, we want to replicate. You would not be replicating all the VMs to DR side, because there could be non-critical VMs, test and dev. So 15 are critical VMs which we want to replicate. So we see 15 VMs, the total point is 360. Now for this VM, 23 VMs, we see the variations, minimum point and maximum points. Right, when we use on a cloud, as you know, there are a lot of fluctuations, and sometimes cost can drastically go up. Now in this, as we say, the RAM for these VMs is 4 GB, but reservation is 2 GB. So maximum utilization can go only 4. What happens if our reservation is only 50%? In all the scenario, let's say here 8, our reservation is for 50%. Similarly for 24, it's a 12 GB, and above that maximum is 24 GB. So after 24, even if you are higher, if your VM has higher RAM, it will be charged on 24 only. So the total point can goes from 220 to 344. It cannot increase more than 344. So this will be the variation point here. Similarly, we also have 100 VDI users and advanced features. So total 1900. So total point, if we add all these 1900, 344, for the monthly consumptions will be 2,604 points. Now looking at this, we were having a different commitment band, right? 360, then 1800, and 3600. So for this, since it is coming under the second, right? It is between the second and third, 1800 and 36. So we'll go to the next slide.
Okay, so Manish, sorry to interrupt. Manish, you have another 5 minutes to close it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fine. So we will be charged based on the unit rate of 1800, and that's how the average 800 extra points. So total charge will be multiplied by 1.22, and this will be my monthly. You can see the total annual charges will be 36,912, and this will be a monthly payment. So monthly we'll be paying 3,000 something.
So Manish, I'll take it from here. So what I wanted to showcase here, when we were doing this calculation, there's a lot of discussion on budgets, IT budgets, right? By Intertek simplifying this entire billing ecosystem for you, this is Intertek's work. This is not how the vendor is going to present you the billing. It is Intertek who's going to present you the billing. By showing this to you, what we are telling you is that we are able to give you the maximum and the minimum of your entire consumption pattern. If you look at it that way, yes, you would then automatically save a lot more money, but you will have to do a monthly budgeting, and there is a maximum and a minimum. But if you see the variance, it's not a lot. It's between $1,000 to $1,500 variance that you see here. This real life example gives you a lot more clarity on how your monthly billing model is going to function. It's not going to be going haywire. You're not going to be charged $1,000 a day and $200,000 the next month. It has a cap. It has a very sane working, and we would love to work with you to give you that sanity and information. I'll skip because most of the advantages are very similar between Veeam and VMware. The idea here is to give you back control and give you a flexible rate card. Also, the entire ecosystem is going to be available for you. You don't have to pick and choose an advanced or an enterprise feature. Even if you want to run an enterprise feature for a month, you can do that over the point system. The solutions that are available from the VMware side, we have both an on-prem and a cloud ecosystem, right? We can run a private cloud as a service using VMware Stack on top of our GitHub CI or our HP GreenLake or another solution, which we manage and set up a per VM charge model for you. Or else it can integrate with our WVD offering as a hybrid WVD management layer on top of the Microsoft Azure's VDI platform. To know more about our WVD platform, on 13th, we're going to do that session as well. So the WVD session is going to be driven by, hosted by Microsoft, but that session is on 13th. We're going to go into details of WVD and our managed offering of that. But this is a plug point there that Horizon as well is supported on WVD, and we can integrate and deliver a managed VDI architecture with VMware on top of Azure. And that can utilize this billing model. Now, similar to Veeam and VMware, we also do Red Hat solutions. So as you're aware, containerization again is talking about scalable ecosystems. If you're not aware of containerization, containerization is going to deliver an application or a code as a service or a PaaS as a service. It bridges the gap of developer to application delivery, and it is a completely stateless ecosystem. So we do have a managed offering of DevOps OpenShift on Azure. And in here, we also bring in our data platform security discussions. On our last webinar, we're going to discuss the network for DevOps platforms and the storage for DevOps platforms. But Red Hat licensing again is available as a SaaS ecosystem. Why it makes sense from a DevOps point of view? Because DevOps life cycles or delivery cycles are done on a weeks and a month basis in the first stage. You run it as a SaaS ecosystem, as a managed ecosystem, then you can know by monitoring the entire architecture, what is the cost point of that IT platform to run. You bake it into your business model, and then you run the DevOps platform as a scalable ecosystem. Also, the scalability requires license on demand, growth on demand, and that's where the SaaS architecture is more suitable for DevOps OpenShift architecture. That's the end of the topic for today. So from that perspective, I would like to go back to the questions that are available for all of us. Manish, you're here.
All right, perfect. So perfect. Thanks, and Javeen and Manish for such a wonderful presentation. We have received a few questions in the chat window. Javeen and Manish, you both can refer to the chat window, but I will read it out for everyone's benefit. Right. So the first question we've got from Ibrahim is live mount available in Veeam? Probably Manish, do you want to answer that?
Yes, so yeah, if we are backing the data to the Azure blob, we can mount those VMs in the Azure cloud. For that, we have deep integrations available with the other portfolio, like the NetApp storage. We can have the VM and storage, and we can mount from. We can actually mount from there.
Okay, perfect. So the second one is, would you highlight on backup on cloud or across cloud?
Okay, so backup from cloud or across cloud, a Veeam architecture is compatible with multi-cloud ecosystem. So as Manish was saying, it is a software-defined architecture. So being a software-defined architecture, all you have to set up is a Veeam master servers in those cloud ecosystems, point an object store, and a managed disk architecture on cloud where it can restore or backup. So in that scenario, yes, you can back up multiple cloud ecosystems from a SaaS perspective on an infrastructure level. From a SaaS perspective, Veeam delivers a SaaS backup capability on Office 365 today, SharePoint, and OneDrive. It is yet to build more competency on other SaaS ecosystems, but on a SaaS platform, those three are well supported for a backup to cloud or a multi-cloud platform. You can back up from one cloud to the other or create a seamless integration. Also integrates with our hybrid data platform with NetApp, so which is also multi-cloud capable. So it can integrate, give a full competitive story there.
Yeah. The next question is related to the Azure AD object. Yes. So Veeam, as we said, Veeam provides the protection, and it has application-aware backup for Microsoft applications, including Active Directory, Exchange, SharePoint, and SQL database. So yes, we can protect the Azure AD object, and it provides the granular recovery of the Azure AD. It's available.
So Mr. Seshu's question is more commercial. Is there a minimal number of VMs that we need to commit for backup? The answer is no. As I said, there is a 0-point commitment for Veeam. For VMware, definitely there is a 360-point minimum commitment, but Veeam does not require a commitment point. It can be completely pay as you go. Or only the initialization would be deployed, the master server in your ecosystem. So that would be a charge and a one-time charge that you can have. And that will be available for an annual period. The initialization will be available. If your consumption is going on, there will be no further renewal till 1 year. So you can start a contract as a small initialization piece and start deploying based on your demand. That, I think, so covers all the questions. I know we started 5 minutes late, but we still have 4 minutes for our 1 hour commitment here today. Any other queries?
Yeah, so if anyone else has any query, probably you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. No worries. So I think that's it, Javin and Manish. Well, that brings us to the end of this webinar. But before we close it, I would like to thank all our audience as well for their contribution and keeping it so interactive. We look forward to see you again in our next webinar coming soon. We will keep you posted about it. In case you have any further queries or you want some clarification on today's topic, please feel free to get in touch with us by dropping an email at info@interaxis.com. Otherwise, you can also revert back, to the calendar which I have sent you, right? And we will be more than happy to address them. That's it from our end. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Javin, you want to say something? You're on mute.
Small reminder, 13th is the VDI with Microsoft, which is hosted for Managed VDI. And 20th, we're doing the acceleration to public cloud with data and network architecture. We're doing that with other vendors. So interesting discussions, some implications from DevOps over there, VDI, which we're discussing, Horizon View will be detailed discussion over there, and the management architecture. Again, quite interesting for business, completely business driven. So look forward to seeing you there as well.
Thank you.